What are some things that I think LSU's got to do to win this game and things that they got to avoid if they're going to come out with a win? Let's get to some things that LSU must do to win this game. And we get very specific on these today. Because not only do you have Harold Perkins on your team and been electric for your defense, but Ole Miss has a Perkins of their own as well. Sertaine Perkins is an edge guy, linebacker hybrid that Ole Miss has had the last couple of years. Last year, Sertaine Perkins had 10 sacks on the season, and through 4 games already this year has been very disruptive for Ole Miss. I think that LSU has got to identify where number 4 is at the entire game, and I think at both tackle positions, whether he's over Tyree Adams, whether he is over Weston Davis, the tight ends and running backs have got to get a chip or help out in some pass pro situations on Sertaine Perkins. He terrifies me. So the number one thing this week for me that LSU, in my opinion, has got to do, they have got to get some chips. They have got to get some tight ends to give maybe a little hit to get him off of his mark. You got to do some of the things that you did versus Clemson with TJ Parker. Because if you don't, I fear that Sertaine Perkins, it can have a really big day against Weston Davis. Guys, the thing about Sertaine Perkins and the way that Pete Golden uses him, their elite edge guy, is that he moves to both sides. Now, Deshaun Womack is going to be the other guy. Ironically enough, Deshaun Womack, when he committed to LSU, committed on this show on July the 4th. He has not been able to get home, has Womack, but Perkins has, and he's been very disruptive. What terrifies me and what I think Pete Golden, I don't know this, what I think Pete Golden is going to do is say, hey, they have a weakness at right tackle, and we are going to put Sertaine Perkins over him, and we're going to, at least for the first half until you can get DJ Chester in there, we are going to make Weston Davis win those reps, and we are going to make you game plan around number 4 the entire game. I don't think that you can get out of there alive if you do not give help on him. I don't think Weston Davis can hold up. I don't. Not for 4 quarters. You got to do some things. Now, I think Weston Davis, for all that I just said there, is giving you maximum effort. He's giving you everything he's got, and that's all I can really ask. Doesn't mean that he needs to play, start, whatever, to a lot of the points that you're probably going to make on this chat right now. Stopping and containing number 4 for Ole Miss defensively is a must. And sometimes you got to do some chips. Sometimes the tight ends have got to help him pass pro. And because if they don't, things can get really wonky. He can be that disruptive against an offensive line that has been struggling. Guys, twice last week, by the way, on, I guess, their cheetah package too, he lined up in the interior and rushed the passer. I worry about that too, because that is a massive strength for him. With a quarterback in Garrett who can run, and we've seen him run, but is not the necessarily fleetest of foot. Ole Miss has been god-awful this year in defending the run. What they have not been god-awful in is getting to the quarterback with Sertaine Perkins. And the only thing that I point out here and why I think it's a massive key, unless Sertaine Perkins is making a massive play on third down, Ole Miss is 74th in the country in third down rate. They have not been able to get off the field against lesser opponents. It kind of goes to my number 2 here. Ironically enough, I know that we want to see this offense absolutely open this thing wide open, and I don't disagree with you. But, guys, getting in some third and short situations and kind of early in the game managing the thing, I don't know if it's a bad idea, mainly due to the fact of how bad that they have been on third down. Now, goes to my second point here. I know we want to see it so bad because they are dead last in the country at getting off the field on 3rd and 5. They're 74th in the country in third down defensive third down rate. What worries me is that you've been so bad on 3rd and 5, and the Southeastern game is not going to let me change my mind of how bad you've been in moments and times on 3rd down. Because 3rd down and short, 3rd down in general is going to win you the football game, because I think that you can, for what it's worth, lean on them. I think that there is a complete path for you winning this game. And the path is not what a lot of you are going to like. I don't know if you don't play some time of possession and lean on them a little bit early. But you can't really lean on them because you can't run the football. And that is a problem. They do not have the depth to overcome a fist fight for all 4 quarters if you can bring it to them. So not only chipping Sertaine Perkins, but staying on the field on 3rd down in either one of these games is more critical. You can't keep giving Lane shots and chances because he's going to figure it out. Like him, love him, or hate him, he's going to figure it out. And they always are a nuisance in things that they do offensively. They've been bad at defending the run, and they've been very bad on 3rd down. Can you exploit both of those things that lesser teams, and quite honestly, less talented teams have been able to do on them that you should be able to? But ironically enough, even though Tulane can do it, and even though these other teams can do it, you will find a way to shoot yourselves in the own foot. Can't have penalties. Yeah, that's a given. But I still think that you are more talented than them. And you can do so many more things than the opponents that they face. Guys, you're better than on offense than Kentucky is. You're a better overall team than Arkansas is. You're by far a better, more talented team than Tulane. Well, then you better figure it out. But what do those teams do? Those teams that were able to get in dogfights with Ole Miss this season, what did they do? Guys, they converted on 3rd down at 50% plus efficiency rate. The only thing Kentucky did was get in 3rd and short, line up, run the ball, get 3 yards, 1st down. Ole Miss didn't have an answer. They got punched in the mouth after Kentucky embarrassed them and ruined their playoff chances a season ago. You got to chip Sertaine Perkins, and you got to stay on the field on 3rd down. And I do fear that Joe Sloan will get inside of his own head. You know, Brian Kelly this week, this is going to be a don't. But Brian Kelly this week, one thing you can't do is be scripted. But we can get to that in a minute. You got to stop being so damn scripted and let the game come to you. That has been a bad problem schematically. Look, we talked about this a lot last night, so I'm just going to kind of pass over and glance over it. You got to attack the middle of the field. Guys, their safety play is awful. It's god-awful. This is, I think, more of the G5 Power 4 teams that you've played. I'm not counting Southeastern in this. I don't know if this isn't the worst secondary or safety room that you've faced. Guys, Arkansas obliterated them over the middle of the field. They have been lost in coverage. Yes, Sage Ryan plays there. They have been lost in man-to-man coverage. They have not gotten lined up properly. If you do not use the middle of the field with Trey'Dez Green, who Brian Kelly announced is going to play this week, I'm going to throw a hissy fit like a 5-year-old. They cannot, against teams that don't have more talent than you, they have not been able to stop stuff over the middle of the field, which is where Garrett wants to go with the football. Then attack it and use Aaron Anderson. We talked about it a lot last night, but guys, their safety play has been god-awful. Let's go and attack it. Start off fast. Look, man, can we for once offensively actually get the ball and go down and score on the first drive? You know, before we get to things I don't think that you can do and things that will harm you if you don't do it. Guys, at what point are you just going to say, we got to figure out how we can get first downs in the first possession of the game? You have not won a toss all year, and I know that Brian Kelly probably wants to defer to the second half, and I pray to God that you win the toss and you defer to the second half. I pray to God that happens. because that some of that shit's out of your control. And even if you receive the ball and you take the ball first from in the game, guys, none of that shit matters. Go score. Go. I don't even care if you score a touchdown. Go get 3 points. Go get 3 points. Because quite honestly, it is getting very annoying that you cannot script anything up in the first 15 plays, even though Brian Kelly says that you've been very scripted. We'll talk about that next. Can we just go get points? Please. If you play out from a lead on them and they start pressing, I don't know if they can overcome it because they haven't done it all year. What does Trinidad Chambliss look like when he's got to throw the football 40 times a game against this secondary? Make them do that. Play from ahead. Be able to risk some things to be able to get him down on the ground. I don't have faith that you are going to start off fast. I think it's going to be a lot of the same. I have no faith whatsoever. I say that, watch them go score in the first drive. I don't think that they can because I think you're too predictable. And teams know what you're going to do. If you want to score on the first drive, give your best playmakers the football in space and say, go have at it. And for whatever it's worth, I don't even know if I wouldn't settle for you getting a pair of first downs to start off the game. And even if you have to punt, then so be it. It would actually be an improvement. You know, outside of the 25-yard run that Caden Durham got on the first play from scrimmage, guys, you've been 3 and out to start the game against every other opponent. You went 3 and out against Louisiana Tech. You went 3 and out against Florida. You went 3 and out against Southeastern. That is awful. Can we get a first down? I don't think that's asking for much. Go 5 wide, and if they go man up, if they go 5 wide and they go zone, all you got to do is find Aaron Anderson, and he's going to make the play. Guys, we overcomplicate this shit. The thing, and now to go to the don'ts. Brian Kelly this week said, and this is the biggest thing I think you cannot do to start off a game. Brian Kelly said we've been way too scripted. No shit. We got to go into a game and say, listen, let's forget everything of what we think that they are going to do and where we think the flaws are and find just a way and call plays to get our playmakers the ball in space. Because what you've been doing has generated a lot of athletes and players and personnel that have no business guarding Aaron Anderson to guard Aaron Anderson. I don't think formationally you've been bad to some degree. You have gotten favorable matchups. And I don't know if they're not going to play off of you because they're still scared of the speed that you garner. But if teams are still going to play off of you, which is what everybody has done, then nickel and dime their ass, 5-yard dump off passes down the field. Now, you try to do that against Florida, and Nuss had multiple passes tipped at the line of scrimmage. He threw a double coverage to a running back on an out route when you went 5 wide, when Aaron Anderson's wide open. You try to do it, and your quarterback's got to make better decisions. Because the scripted part of what Brian Kelly was saying was not really the play calling. What he was saying is we are overcomplicating things. LSU offensively has completely overcomplicated and tried to outthink and outsmart the room when, quite honestly, I don't think that they have to. Get Xavier Thomas the ball. Figure out something to get him the football. Aaron Anderson, if you got one-on-one coverage with Barryon Brown early in the game, throw the ball downfield and see what happens. It's not that difficult. And by the way, Garrett I thought was really good at making decisions against Southeastern. You gotta know what they're doing against you. You gotta know. You can't guess. Because Pete is going to – what I thought Pete did so great last year was until the last drive of the game that led you to getting the score in the overtime, he confused the shit out of Garrett. He confused the shit out of him. He just said, I know for a fact that you're not going to run. And quite frankly, I don't know if the first play from scrimmage, you don't want a zone read and if it dictates for you to pull the football, pull the football. As god-awful as they were defending Taylor Green, you don't have to be Taylor Green. Be Garrett Nussmeier, but you can go get 7 yards. You got to stay in front of the chains. But we're trying. I feel like the biggest thing that I have for Joe Sloan, and I know a lot of you don't like some of the things he does. For me, I think he's trying to outthink and outsmart the room when the personnel that he does have, he doesn't have to do that. He doesn't have to do it. Make someone show you that they can cover Aaron Anderson. Because how many, let me ask y'all this question. How many times have you seen Aaron Anderson be draped all over? It's not many. And there's been a lot of good DBs and a lot of good teams that you've faced. It's not been many. Brian Kelly's thought this week, he said the word scripted. I don't believe that's what he meant. What I think he fully meant was, and he might come out and say, no, Blake Ruffino's dead wrong, and that's fine. I'm making a judgment and an opinion. I think he was saying we're overthinking things, and let's just go play. Go get your best playmakers the ball in space and figure out what happens. One thing that LSU must not do is be unaware along your offensive line. Listen, what do I mean by that? Guys, at what point this season are you going to fix some of the outright lapses in awareness and judgment that you've had? Guys, teams are going to continue to run twists and stunts on you until you can prove that you can stop it. You have not. The right side of your offensive line, Weston Davis included, Josh Thompson included, Braylon Moore included in on this. How do you guys not know how to pick up a simple twist? And I've known Pete Golding a long time, well over 20 years. I've known Pete Golding. And I will tell you this. If Pete Golding sees something on film and Southeastern doing it, he is going to replicate it against you this week. This offensive line better be ready for twists, stunts. He better be ready for a lot of people at the line of scrimmage and bailing out. He is going to try to confuse the shit out of you because he doesn't think that you're good enough to be able to stop them, even though that they have deficiencies along their defensive line, which they do. He doesn't care. I don't know if this can be fixed in a week, but one thing that can be fixed in a week is how you protect against stunts and twists and what teams have done against you all season. Guys, that is mental reps. That is knowing your assignment and knowing your job. Josh Thompson has got to be better. He has not been. Guys, let's just call it like we see it. Weston Davis is taking too much of the blame, and Josh Thompson's not taking enough of it. Listen, these guys are getting paid an enormous amount of money to play college football. And if that is going to be the case, and you are going to spend the amount of money that you do in the portal, we have to have the wherewithal to be able to call this out. It has been atrocious. Look, I'll even show you this. I don't get into this much, and I don't do the whole Carter thing. But I need to show you this. The Southeastern ran a twist on you, okay? They ran a twist on you last week, and that's a horrible footage. This right here is Josh Thompson. Josh Thompson should be standing right where that Southeastern lineman is running. Jawan Johnson picks up the defensive tackle, which Weston Davis is trying to take over that defensive tackle, okay? But he sees that Josh Thompson is not moving. It is not going to take the loop guy. So he starts running after him. Everybody and their mama on that play on social media started blaming Weston Davis. And before you say that you didn't, I bookmarked your tweets and media people's tweets that said that that was on Weston Davis. Then you do not know offensive line play because that's on Josh Thompson. Teams have been doing this every single week on you. And the simple fact that Garrett has been able to make the plays that he's been able to make when you can't pick up a simple twist. I don't think it's been a lot of physical stuff in pass pro. I think it's been mental. So, look, there's not a lot of don'ts that I have, like things you cannot do for you to lose. But continuously allowing teams every week to do that on you and you still have not picked that up is god-awful. It's a lack of coaching, it's a lack of awareness, and it's a lack of not knowing and doing your job. And that you cannot allow Southeastern to do that on you. You can't. So, we'll see. Last thing here, the last thing that you cannot do, or you're going to lose to Ole Miss. Hot take. I don't care I do not care what your run game looks like against Ole Miss. Blake, what do you mean you don't care? You got to stay with it. You cannot abandon it. I do feel like at some point, now that Garrett is kind of out of this torso injury thing, that you're going to let him throw the ball a lot more than he did last week. You cannot abandon it. I am very fearful that Joe Sloan is going to start abandoning the run. I am very fearful that Garrett is going to check out of things and start getting out of run plays because it's not working. And you can't do that. You got to have the threat of some run game, even if it's 2 to 3 yards to carry. You got to do it. I thought the biggest problem you had against A&M last year was that you got so panicky that you couldn't run the ball, that you completely stopped. Guys, you did not, from halfway through the third quarter on, when you were still leading in the game, you did not run the football another time in that game. You didn't. And I get that they were physically dominating you. I get it. But, man, you can't get away from it. Because if you get away from it this week, as god-awful as that front seven's been in defending the run, you're going to lose. You're going to lose. All right.